My girlfriend mocked me. Stop being so intense. I'll talk to you when I feel like it. I simply said, okay, then cut off all contact. A week later, she pounded on my door, her face filled with pure fear. Before we go on, hit subscribe and drop a comment telling us which city you're tuning in from. I'm 28 years old, I work in IT consulting, and until 3 weeks ago, I thought I was in a healthy relationship. My girlfriend Daniela and I had been together for 2 years. We didn't live together, but we messaged all the time. Good morning texts, updates about lunch, goodnight calls. It felt normal. It felt good until it stopped being so. The problem started subtly around her but outside our relationship. Daniela started leaving me on read for hours. When I mentioned it, she'd laugh and brush it off. I'm busy, love. You know how work gets. It seemed fair. I gave her space. But then this pattern intensified. She'd post Instagram stories, going out to dinner with her friends, selfies at the gym, nights out, all while my messages, despite her being active on WhatsApp, her last seen updating every minute, remained with a single gray check. I told myself I was overthinking it. She had her life, I had mine. We were independent adults, but that nagging feeling in my stomach wouldn't disappear. On a Thursday afternoon, after a particularly long day of debugging code for a difficult client, I sent her a message on WhatsApp just to see how she was. Hey, I haven't heard from you since this morning. Is everything okay? 3 hours later, she replied, you don't need to put a GPS tracker on me. I stared at my phone, confused and hurt. The message felt unnecessarily cruel. I called her immediately. She answered to the sound of music and laughter in the background. Her voice was sharp, irritated, as if I had interrupted something important. I just wanted to make sure you were okay, I said. You've been very distant lately. She sighed dramatically. I heard her say something in a low voice to someone before putting the phone back to her ear. Stop being so intense. I'll talk to you when I feel like it. I don't have to report to you constantly. The words hit me like a bucket of cold water. Not because they were rude, which they were, but because of the casualness with which she said them, as if I were an annoying subscription service she was too lazy to cancel. The 2 years we had built, the 2 years we planned, the 2 weekend trips to the beach with our families, the parties, talking about moving in together next spring. Now I was intense for wanting basic communication, for wanting to know if the person I loved was okay. I opened her chat. My thumb hovered over her name. Then I swiped up, looking at our conversation history, the inside jokes, the heart emojis, the plans for our future. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I muted her conversation. I turned off notifications. Then I put my cell phone in silent mode, face down on the coffee table. If she wanted space, she'd have all the space in the world. The first 3 days were harder than I expected. Out of instinct, I'd grab my cell phone while having my morning coffee, a muscle memory, thinking of sending her a photo of the sunrise from my balcony. I catch myself thinking of funny things to send her during my lunch break, a weird bug in my code, a meme that would make her laugh. But each time, I'd remember her dismissive words, stop being so intense, and I'd put the phone down again. By the 5th day, something changed inside me. I started to fill my time differently. I went to the gym every evening after work, something I had been neglecting. I called my brother Mateo, whom I had been meaning to catch up with for months. We talked for hours about everything and nothing. I deep-cleaned my apartment. I even fixed the leaky bathroom faucet that had been dripping for 6 months. Somehow, I felt lighter, freed from the constant anxiety of wondering when she would reply, if she would reply, or if I had said something wrong. My phone remained silent. Not a single text from Daniela. At the end of the first week, I checked her Instagram out of pure morbid curiosity. She had posted a selfie in front of the mirror, all dressed up in a tight dress, looking spectacular, with the caption "Unbreakable," sparkling. And a featured story, at a nightclub with her friends, a drink in her hand, everything laughing. She looked happy, relieved even, as if I had been a weight on her shoulders. I closed the app and didn't check it again. The second week flew by. I took on a new project at work, a complete system restructuring for a financial firm that kept me busy until late every night. The work consumed me. It left me too mentally exhausted to think much about my relationship status. A colleague, Andres, noticed a change in my attitude during a coffee break. You seem different lately, he said, and I didn't even have to think about it. Different good or different bad? Better, more focused. I'm just focusing on myself, I replied, and it was true, without needing to give more details. He smiled knowingly, as if he had been through something similar. The trash takes itself out, he said. You just have to be patient enough to let it happen. I didn't know if Daniela and I were over, but for the first time, I wasn't paying attention. All the red flags that I had been making excuses for, that I had rationalized and minimized, maybe they were exactly what they seemed. By the third week, I wasn't even thinking about her. I wasn't angry. I didn't hurt. She simply existed in a space where she was no longer a factor in my daily emotional state. I went back to something I had abandoned during our relationship, reading. I used to spend my evenings waiting for her messages. I finished 2 sci-fi novels in a week. I stayed up until 2 a.m. on a Tuesday because I couldn't put down the second book. I reconnected with old friends. I went to a concert with my college buddy Nacho. I went to try a new Thai restaurant downtown that I had been curious about. I lived my life. On day 13, I was preparing dinner, pasta carbonara, something I had been wanting to perfect, when my cell phone vibrated on the kitchen counter. I had turned the sound back on a week earlier, thinking I had already missed enough work calls to justify it. It was Mateo. Hey, are you okay? Daniela just sent me a really weird DM asking if you're okay. I froze with the wooden spoon in my hand, the cream sauce bubbling on the stove. What did she say exactly? She asked if something had happened. If you were okay, she said she hadn't heard from you and that she was worried. I didn't even know you guys had a fight. I thought you had broken up. We didn't officially break up, I said. I just stopped chasing her. Oh, said Mateo. He had never been a huge fan of Daniela. He thought she was too self-centered. What did you reply? I told her you were fine, that she should ask you directly. Did I mess up? No, it's perfect, I said, and hung up. I opened my muted conversation with Daniela. 37 unread messages stared back at me. They started casual around day 7. Hey, are you okay? By day 10, the tone had changed. What's going on? Why aren't you answering me? By day 15, they had escalated in tone. What is your problem? This is immature. You're acting like a child. By day 18, I don't understand why you're doing this. By day 20, she had gone into full panic. Why are you ignoring me? Can we please talk? I'm getting worried. Day 22. This isn't funny anymore. The most recent one, sent 40 minutes ago. I'm coming over, we need to talk. This is too much. I felt nothing, just a mild curiosity about what would happen next, like watching a TV show you're not really interested in anymore. I unmuted her number, but I didn't reply to any of the messages. I went back to my pasta, adjusting the heat and slowly adding the egg mixture so it wouldn't overcook. 20 minutes later, aggressive knocks shook my apartment door. It wasn't a polite knock. It was a desperate, urgent knock that made my neighbor's dog start barking. I turned off the stove, wiped my hands on a kitchen towel, and walked slowly to the door. I looked through the peephole. It was Daniela. Her hair was messy, pulled back in a hasty bun, with strands falling over her face. She was wearing a gray t-shirt and sweatpants that were huge on her, the kind she only wore at home. No makeup, with her eyes puffy. She was scared. I took a deep breath. I opened the door. She looked at me as if I were a ghost, with her mouth slightly open. Are you okay? Yes, why wouldn't I be? She struggled to find the words. Her hands gestured with a frantic energy. You haven't answered me in 13 weeks. 13 weeks. I thought something had happened to you. I thought you were dead or in a hospital. I'm fine, I said calmly, leaning against the doorframe. I've just been busy. Her face went from relief to confusion to anger in rapid succession. Busy? You couldn't send me a text? A single message to let me know you were alive. You said you'd talk to me when you felt like it. I replied, and I didn't raise my voice. I just looked for you. She took a step forward. Her voice rose. You know I didn't mean it like that. What did you mean? I maintained my neutral tone, not hostile, just with genuine curiosity. You were quite clear. You said I was being intense. You were going to talk when you felt like it. I was waiting for you to feel like it. You're twisting my words. I'm not twisting anything, I said. I'm literally repeating what you told me. She ran her hands through her hair, pulling at it. You can't just ignore me completely. You can't just disappear as if I don't exist. I didn't disappear, I said. I've been right here the whole time. I just wasn't chasing you anymore. She opened her mouth and closed it again. Her eyes filled with tears. You're punishing me. Is this a punishment? I'm not punishing you, I said. I'm giving you exactly what you asked for. Space, to talk when you feel like it. I guess you just haven't felt like it much. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. I interrupted her with a calm, but firmer tone. Calling someone who cares about you intense for basic communication is not fair. Making me feel like I'm asking for too much when all I'm asking for is the bare minimum, a reply to a message, an acknowledgement that I exist. Her eyes snapped to mine. She wiped her sleeve across her face, smearing the tears. I was stressed. Work was crazy, and I felt suffocated. Then you should have told me that, I said. You should have said, hey, I need space for a few days because work is killing me. I need to relax. Not mock me for feeling pathetic for caring. If you had communicated like an adult, I would have understood, but you didn't. I should have, she whispered. Now she was crying softly. I'm sorry. I thought you'd come back. I thought you'd always be there. I'm not cold, I said. This isn't typical of me. Maybe I should have done it sooner. Maybe I should have set boundaries a long time ago instead of accepting the crumbs of attention you threw at me. Crumbs? Yes, crumbs, I said, and for the first time, my voice had a bit of an edge. Let's be honest, Daniela. You talked to me when it was convenient for you, when you were bored, when you wanted validation or attention. But the moment I asked for that same tranquility, I became an inconvenience. The moment I asked for consistency, I was suffocating you. She stared at me in the dark hallway. I knew it, she whispered. What did you know? You're breaking up with me, she said, and her voice broke into a sob. I'm not. Our relationship is over. We just broke up 3 weeks ago. It's just that you were too busy posting your unbreakable, sparkling selfies to notice. She flinched. You saw that post. I did, I said. And, you know what? You look happy. You looked relieved not to be dealing with me. So I gave you that. It wasn't like that, she said. It wasn't about you. It was about me. Exactly, I replied. You have the right to feel however you want, but I also have the right to get out of the way of an option that you pick up when you're bored or lonely to boost your ego. Now she was crying inconsolably, the mascara from the previous day smearing down her face, leaving dark marks. I love you, she said. That word should have meant something. It should have, but now it felt empty. It's better this way, I said in a low voice. I love you, but I respect myself more. I can't be with someone who makes me feel like I'm a burden, as if loving her was something I had to apologize for. Please, she whispered, reaching out her hand. Can we just talk about this? Really talk. I'll do better. I'll communicate more. I'll make you my priority. I'll do whatever it takes to make you feel comfortable, to make you know I'm not going anywhere. And then we'll be right back here in a few months, I said, with you getting upset at me for answering your messages, for bothering you. I can't do it anymore. I didn't grab her hand. I didn't reciprocate either. I just let my hand hang limply. Please, she said with a broken sob. I was really going to text you. I know, I said. Eventually. I know you were. Now I know. How sad that it took me so long to realize that I deserve something better than someone who makes me feel bad for caring. I stepped back from the door. Daniela, I'm serious, I said. I'm sorry, but this is over. I wish you the best. I really do. But I can't do this anymore. Wait, she said, but I closed the door, slowly but firmly. I heard her standing there for a good while, sobbing and crying. Then the sound of her dragging her feet. Then the sound of her going down the hallway, the sobs fading into the distance. I went back to my kitchen. The pasta had gotten cold. I threw it out. I went back to cleaning. I put on music. My apartment was clean. My work was going well. My life felt calm. Update. After our last talk, Matteo told me that Daniela started dating someone from his gym. I felt nothing when I heard that. No jealousy, no satisfaction, not even curiosity. It simply confirmed what I already knew. The problem was never me. It was that she was only happy with me for a while, when it was convenient for her. When something more exciting came along, she moved on. I ran into her once at a mutual friend's birthday party. She tried to approach me at the bar, but I politely excused myself to get a drink and spent the rest of the night on the opposite side of the room. She didn't try again. She left early. At work, I'm doing incredibly well. I got promoted to senior consultant with a pretty good salary increase. The project I was buried in during those 3 weeks of silence became one of the company's biggest successes. My concentration level has never been this sharp. I've been on a couple of dates, nothing serious yet, but I'm in no rush. I'm learning what I'm really looking for in a partner instead of just settling for anyone who pays attention to me. I'm learning what my boundaries are, how to assert them without feeling guilty. My cell phone is no longer a source of anxiety. I check it when I feel like it. I reply when I have something important to say. I've decided that silence is not always punishment or anger. Sometimes it's just silence. Sometimes it's a survival instinct. Last week I received a very long message from Daniela. An apology, an explanation, a plea to talk when I was ready. I read it, and then I archived it without replying. Some conversations don't need to happen. Some apologies come too late. Some people only realize what they had when they can no longer have it. And honestly, I've never slept better. My apartment feels like mine again. My time feels mine. My life feels mine. I don't hate her. I don't wish her ill. I just wish I had seen myself as enough to walk away sooner. But I guess it was worth the wait.